She won't let you in until you unsettle her rhythm. Not with roses, hollow words, or recycled quotes. She opens up when you do what no man before you dared to, disrupt her emotional cycle. Not her identity, her pattern. That silent blueprint beneath every relationship she's known, the one that turns great men into just another forgettable chapter. And if you still believe love is won by proving you're kind, honest, and safe, then you're further from attraction than you realize. Because the real issue isn't your goodness, it's your predictability. Being too generous, too responsive, too eager, tells her mind, here's another guy who'll do anything for me. And when she senses that, something shifts internally. She doesn't hate you, she just switches off. Why? Because her brain isn't wired to crave safety. It's wired for tension, not conflict, but contrast. Not drama, but intensity. And that, my friend, is a skill mastered by a rare kind of man. He's the one who doesn't flinch when tested, who keeps his energy, his voice, and his focus steady, no matter how she pulls back, goes cold, or probes him. He knows love isn't sparked by comfort, but by intentional imbalance. That feeling of, I don't know where I stand, but I can't walk away. Today, you'll understand why trying to be the perfect man kills attraction. You'll learn how unpredictability, not consistency, is what fuels her desire, because unless you disrupt the emotional formula she's used to, you'll simply become a background character in someone else's story. You've likely done it already, maybe even with pride. You sent that sweet morning text, poured hours into conversations about her day, her past, her worries. You organized dates, gave her thoughtful gifts, stayed available, and in return, silence, dry replies. She faded without warning, and finally she hit you with that cold sentence, "You're an amazing guy," but it crushes you. You ask yourself, how did I lose her when I did everything right? Here's the brutal truth. You became the man she appreciated but couldn't desire, the man she respects but doesn't fantasize about. Your flaw wasn't being kind, it was being obvious. That's the curse of the top-tier man. The harder he tries to prove he's the one, the more he blends into the crowd of those who tried too hard. He joins a race no one wins. Because the moment you compete for her, you lose her intrigue. What he doesn't grasp is this. A woman's feelings aren't based on logic or rewards. They're built around contrast. Her heart responds not to your plans, but to the tension between he wants me and he doesn't need me. Cruel? Maybe. But real? Absolutely. And the irony? The more you push stability, the more you kill emotional spark. That feeling she craves, that flutter in the gut, doesn't come from routine. It comes from risk, from not knowing what happens next. The nice guy? Too safe, too stable. You see it as love. She experiences it as dullness. What you offer as certainty, she receives as confinement. And this is the silent failure of the man who tries too hard. He believes he's building connection, but he's actually suffocating desire. Desire needs space, mystery, doubt. And when you fill that space with constant texting, endless validation, and premature long-term promises, you kill any excitement before it blooms. What you think is love, she reads as fear. And a love rooted in fear is no love at all. It's obsession. And obsession never creates attraction. At best, it wins sympathy. At worst, she keeps you for convenience. But real love, real desire, it belongs to the man who disrupts her expectations, who looks at her and says, I'm not here to be one of many. I'm here to be unforgettable. And if you can't see that, don't be surprised when you're discarded early. Not because you weren't kind, but because you were too easy to understand, too soon to be missed. Today's woman isn't after the fairy tale, she's after the riddle. The man who throws her off just enough to keep her coming back. The man who protects her but never loses himself in the process. And that man, he never gives everything at once. He shows her layers, and each layer hooks her deeper. If you are that man, well done. You're already halfway to becoming unforgettable. Because women don't hold on to what's merely good. They hold on to what's intense. This truth breaks the hearts of men raised to be safe and sweet. But in the world of feminine desire, logic is irrelevant. Biology wins. Inside her mind, attraction is fueled by a storm of chemicals, none of which care about kindness. They care about confusion, excitement, the thrill of not knowing. And you know who understands this? The man she should avoid, but can't, because he triggers emotional highs she becomes addicted to. His silence creates adrenaline, his presence sparks dopamine, his absence burns with cortisol. And her brain clings to him the way an addict clings to a drug. It's not poetic, it's biochemical. Robert Greene once said the seducer's real power isn't in his looks, it's in his ability to create surrender. He doesn't explain himself. He invites her to explore him. He makes her feel like she's choosing him, while staying in control the whole time. Women don't fall for answers, they fall for the mystery. And that journey of unraveling a man who never fully gives himself, that's what hooks them. It starts with confusion. Will he text? Did he like the date? Will he open up? Or disappear? That ambiguity? It's magnetic. While the nice guy shows all his cards, intentions, feelings, plans, too soon. The man who gets it withholds just enough to remain a puzzle. That's why she returns to the guy who did her dirty. Not because she enjoys pain, but because those moments created emotional highs. She felt anger, lust, jealousy, hope, doubt. And those highs formed a cycle that... Then she meets a nice guy. Consistent, respectful. And she says, something's missing. That something is the imbalance, the unknown, the feeling of danger, without fear. But listen closely, this doesn't mean becoming toxic. It means being intentionally unpredictable. Create contrast, shift between warmth and mystery, between distance and presence. Not to hurt her, but to awaken her emotions. Be the man who doesn't chase her mood, who doesn't try to fix her silence, who doesn't over-explain. She doesn't want control, she wants polarity. A steady presence in her storm. A man who holds his line while she tests it. She will only love you once she realizes you are the first man who won't chase her chaos, who doesn't change tone when she frowns, who doesn't flinch at her silence. She doesn't want obedience. She wants a mirror, one that reflects her intensity but refuses to break. A man who protects without surrendering his edge. A man who feels like calm but unpredictable. Yes, it's uncomfortable to admit, but denying it is denying nature itself. That's why women often leave stable men, for men who make them feel. Because emotion, not logic, is what bonds. It's what stays. It's what haunts her memory. And what does she feel? Confusion, curiosity, doubt, intensity. Exactly the opposite of what stable men try to offer. So if you want her love, make her feel, but don't fake it. Do it with awareness. Be that rare man who doesn't need her, but still chooses her, who holds space, holds tension, holds power. That, my friend, is the edge of addiction. And the man who stands on that edge is the one she remembers. She doesn't want to be ruined, she wants to be decoded. This is where amateurs fail. They confuse emotional tension with emotional damage. But the true master knows. It's not about hurting her, it's about reprogramming the script. When she sees you aren't just another reaction, when you remain steady, she starts responding differently. You don't shake her by yelling. You shake her with silence when she expects pleading. You don't break her by withdrawing. You break her with presence, calm, steady, certain. It's not your absence that shocks her, it's your stillness. She throws a storm, and you don't flinch. That's when she begins to orbit you. The master doesn't explain. He structures the emotional tone of the entire relationship without needing to speak. When she sees that you neither pedestal her nor diminish her, she feels safe to be her full self. Playful, intense, vulnerable. Because you are grounded, you remain unmoved in the chaos she once used to control others. This is where break and reward comes in. You disrupt her rhythm, then reward her emotionally, subtly. A well-timed compliment, a soft gaze, presence in rare moments. These are dopamine hits, and they're powerful, but only if you control your frame. You become her center of gravity. No matter how she tests or teases, you stay rooted. Your tone is constant.